Greetings and salutations, race fans and especially Dakar fans, and welcome to Raceday.tv and day 2 of our coverage of Dakar 2020. Exciting day, we've got a full show. Remember to send us any comments, any queries, any questions that you've got, things that you want to have a look at. We've got some questions from yesterday that we've had a look at, and we're going to show you some pictures. It was an absolutely magnificent day. We'll get into it. My name's Colin. This is Gary. Gary's going to be looking after all the comments and checking out what's going there. Gary, you've got that all sorted?
Yeah, just the first person online is the guys from Catch-22 Media. Keith, nice of you to join us. Thanks for dialing in so early. And then Malta, also welcome. Nice to have you guys on. Don't forget the comments. We'll get them answered, and as Colin said,
we'll try and get them to answer. And thank you very much to our tech team of absolute rocket scientists. If I can just pull this other thing that was dangling over here, that was my fault. Thank you to Henk and Fritz in the control room for everything they did. The one thing that we do need to acknowledge is that I need to certainly put a lot more preparation into making this show happening and adding value to you. So, Dakar episode 3, the greatest news. Let's just get straight into it. South African motorsport rocks, and we're going to claim Botswana wins the bikes and Stellenbosch wins the cars. That is the bottom line. Ross Branch wins his very first Dakar stage on the bikes. Led early on, and there you've got a lovely picture of Ross and Janelle de Villiers. So Ross wins his first stage. This is the 15th stage win of Janelle's career, and he's the first driver in Dakar history to win on all three chapters. So he won in Africa, won in South America, and now he's won in
the Middle East,
in Saudi. Yeah. The story I was told that there was a discussion, Glyn had a discussion with him this morning and basically said, Janelle, you need to pull your finger out and make some things happen and make sure that you don't let these other guys get ahead of you. And he certainly did. He pulled out all the stops and had a full-on go. Yesterday, there were the dramas of all the punctures. Well, today was another drama of punctures. Nasser and Carlos Sainz and Stefan Peter Hansel had huge navigational issues today as well, and we're going to talk about the navigation today and why it was so difficult for everybody. And talking about punctures, so just have a look at this. You wonder why we get punctures. There's a picture of a Mini, and when they talk about rocks, those are the kind of rocks that you want, that you need to be wary of. And the rocks are really hard. They cut, and they generally cut the sidewall of the tire, and that's where you get the puncture. So it's not through the tread. They generally are sidewall cuts. But now talking about rocks, Fernando Alonso, 160 kilometers, he was lying in virtual second position. He was absolutely flying. Really, really impressive, and he met a rock. Well, the left-hand front wheel met a rock, and you will see some evidence of, now to Mur, a Toyota Hilux, the front left wheel off one of those things. You have to clop that rock very, very hard. I'm not blaming a driver, I'm just saying rocks jump out of where they shouldn't be. And if you hit the rock and you're going fast enough, you will destroy it. And they had to pull the whole front hub off the car. It destroyed the front left corner. And you can see the drive shaft sticking up out of the wheel. So that was an incredibly hard day. And then my absolute favorite, my propensity for duct tape and tie wraps. Well, they used a truckload of duct tape and tie wraps on that car today, and there's Fernando at the end. It was the accounts that came through. It was a character building day. It was hard work for him, and so they got to the end, And tonight they were, or this afternoon, they're an hour ahead of us. So this afternoon they were putting up the car with duct tape. So NASA had 3 punches as well. Bernard ten Brink had 2. Henny de Klerk had, Bernard ten Brink had 4 punches. And Henny had 2 flats. Janelle had to stop and give tyres away as well. So the Rocks certainly are playing their part. Let's go straight into the results. So Janelle wins it from Orlando Terranova and Al Qasimi in the Peugeot 3rd. And then in the Century, Matthew Serradori and Fabien Lequin, they came in 4th in the Century buggy. I think that is absolutely fantastic. And then in the cars, Nasser Al Attiyah was 5th, followed by Carlos Sainz. We can go through. We got the results of the cars there. Sorry, there's all sorts of groovy stuff happening now. What you don't see there is Nanny Roma in 12th in the Borgward. We're going to follow the Borgward through the race. And Stefan Peter Hansel, you'll see he's missing. He was 13th. And then our South Africans, the Redline Motorsport cars, the Nissan Navaras with their VQ56.
Yeah.
Nismo engines, Gary, thanks for that. Henny de Klerk was 33rd and 52nd was Thomas Bell. They had a whole lot of navigational issues. They also got a 40-minute penalty. Eventually, Fernando came in 2 hours 34 behind. That's how long it took. They had to get the T4 truck to bring more spares, more people and stuff to fix it. Which brings us on to motorbikes. Of course, Ross Branch beat Sam Sunderland. Absolutely magnificent. But before we get to the bikes, message from Wessel Bosman this morning. Hi guys, you won't find my name at the end of the stage. I tried to jump a river cutaway when I had to make room for a truck. Either it was too big or I rode too slow. And he's talking about the ditch. With the impact on the other side, I broke my ankle. Quite funny for me to have something broken, and that when the bike or me never die. So that's Wessel Bosman didn't make it to the end, and Oren Marais didn't start because he dislocated his hand and didn't get going. So, Gary, what have you got there?
Yeah, we've got a couple of things. First of all, I got something from Tate Perry. She had a pretty difficult stage today, and she's on stage 2, and this is a report from her. Said, all good, had some navigational problems 5 kilometers from the end, happy with my pace, and thank you all to TP, which is Tate Perry sponsors, etc., etc. So the guys had a lot of navigational problems. We've actually got a video.
Yeah, there's a video, Gary. Why don't we just get that rocking and rolling?
Of Kirsten actually telling us exactly what it was all about.
Quick update on my day. It was long, it was dusty the whole day for 260 k's. We sat in dust. Hard to pass, hard to push. You can't see anything in front of you. You also can't really ride at the road book because you're so worried about what's in front of you. You just land up following the whole time, which is not what you're supposed to do. But the whole time on the road book, I was looking out for dangers that were marked on the road book. Neutralization, I managed to pass and then it opened up and it got really good and I had fun because I could navigate and I had no one in front of me, and then towards the end I made a little bit of a mistake with navigation, but I hit my waypoints and I'm safe. Bikes in one piece, no crashes, no navigation, no waypoints missed.
Awesome stuff that. And just for motorsport sponsorship, she's got Ryobi. Ryobi have committed really big to Kirsty. And
which is absolutely fantastic.
It's brilliant. And part of sponsorship is about leveraging it. Now, on the TV show last night, I was watching, and there, behold, Ryobi had a very nice advert where they've taken Kirsty and her journey, where she had a crash, and they said that she would never ride again, so she did. And they said that she wouldn't win stuff, so she did. And it's that whole thing about Ryobi supporting a rider in doing some stuff. And I use some Ryobi tools. They're quite very lacquer, and now I can't hear a blooming thing about all the stuff that's going on. They're very, very lacquer tools, well priced and good and reliable. So Ross Branch wins from Sam Sunderland. Other South Africans, Graham Sharp was 1 hour 57 behind. Then Stuart Gregory. Kirsty was 2 hours 14 behind. Tay Perry, 2 hours 31 behind.
That's right, yeah.
In the quads, Ignacio Casali, Rafael Sonic, awesome battle. It carries on. Conrad Rotenbach was third in the side-by-sides. And we said yesterday we were going to follow Cyril Dupre, who was ninth, with Michael Horn, the Adventurers. So Gary, overall, you've got the overall stuff for bikes and all of that, particularly with the South Africans.
Okay, so we have Ross Braunch first. We then have Stuart Gregory coming home on bike number 100. He's in 86th position. Kirsten Landman on bike number 117. She's in 96th position. And then Tay Perry coming home in position number 112. Her bike number is 120. So that's how the South Africans stand. As I say, unfortunately, we started off with six Africans or Southern Africans in there, and we're down to 4.
Don't worry, we only need...
we need one to win it.
Well, we've got 2 winners today. Overall in the cars, Orlando Terranova. Janelle de Villiers is in 6th overall, but he's only 12 minutes behind. And
it's only stage 2. And
stage
there's
2.
A lot of racing left.
NASA's 6 minutes behind, and we've seen in the South African cross-country series that we've been following quite carefully, we've seen Janelle looking fitter and meaner and more focused and on the ball. And somehow, inside me, I've got Janelle as my man for this race.
Question for you.
Yes, Gary.
Remember last year when Janelle had that problem and he hit that big rock and he had to slow down to help other guys?
Yeah.
With the problem Fernando's had today, from a team point of view, is it possible that Fernando could become the so-called spares carrier going forward into the next couple of stages, or they let him go?
I can't speak, I don't know, because I'm not there and I can't get inside Glyn's head. But what I do know is that Glyn and Fernando, they've developed a very, very close relationship and a close friendship.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they're doing is that they are looking at, Glyn's committed to Toyota and to Gazoo Racing to make sure to get Fernando to the end.
Okay.
And I think that in your debut race, to add that extra burden onto him, I don't know. Okay. We don't know what it is, and Glyn has said to Fernando, if you listen to me and follow the briefing, we will get you to the end, and,
cool.
And I'm pretty sure that they'll get him to the end. So he's 2 hours 38 minutes behind day 2, but you know, that's a long race ahead. Don't forget, if you've got any questions for us or any comments, feel free to write them in the comment line. To answer some of the questions for those who couldn't find where the comments thing was, there's, strangely enough, under the picture there's a little thing that says
chat line,
or it says comment. And you press on that and have a go on it.
Just talking about that, there's a couple of guys online. So to Shireen, I wouldn't want to be the person to tell Alonso, you are a spares boy. Okay, so that makes sense.
Well, it's not quite like that. What they do is they try to run the cars as light as possible. Mm-hmm. So they put in just enough fuel to, because weight works the brakes, it works everything. Mm-hmm. Weight is better. And all the spares, they actually make a huge difference on the performance. And plus, there's other things that you've got. There are a lot of other privateer Toyotas within the Overdrive team, and I'm sure that some of them will be designated. What else you got there, Gary?
Just another one from Sean for Yarsveld. Thanks for tuning in. That's first of all. He says only the second day. And it's been rough already. And yeah, we're aware of it. We listened to that interview that Kirsten had about the dust. I would like to, hopefully we get hold of one of the car guys to understand how the car guys are seeing this dust. Because dust is a big thing.
They are. And the sun comes up relatively, the sun on the windscreens and in the dust doesn't work so lacquer. The other thing that Dakar organizers try to do is they make the opening couple of stages hard as hell. Get rid of the floaters and those who are not that prepared, and it's a lot easier to drive a caravan of less cars and bikes around the world. Which brings us to our next segment, and we try to look at different parts of Dakar, and one of them is to go behind the scenes and look into the bivouac. And yesterday we spoke, Kirsten Luntman explained to us about her nutrition on the bike. So courtesy of Terence Marsh, thanks for the visuals, we're going to show you a little bit about the food. There's over 3,000 people in the bivouac, and the Dakar organizers need to feed and water them. So here you go, that's what a typical dining hall looks like. You walk into the queue, those of you wherever in the army or in a boarding school know the drill. You walk into the queue, grab your plate, grab your tray, and then walk around and choose bits and bobs of the food, stick it down your neck, there's generally a fruit and water that can go with you. Yes, Gary.
Is that type of food they're giving there, is it pretty nutritional food for these athletes and the guys to keep them up with, or is it purely just food?
Let's have a look at the menu. And this is for breakfast. And there's cornflakes and there's twists and bread.
Okay, cool.
And so there's a fair amount of carbs, because you need carbs to survive. Those banters amongst you. Carbs make energy. It's really good. And you also need some protein. And there's always a fruit, and there's juice and coffee and other stuff. And you know, it's one of those things. It's amazing how when you change your attitude towards food, how nice the food is.
That's true.
If you're a fussy eater, you're going to come away thin. If you're not a fussy eater, it's actually quite lacquer. But you know, after 2 weeks, it does get a little bit boring. So that's thanks to Terence Marsh, who's getting around the deserts in his king-size Nissan. I think it's a Patrol, the latest version of the Patrol with redlined all about it. So one of the things the comments that came out today was about navigation.
Yeah.
In the past, and let's go way back into the past, into the North African versions of Dakar.
The early days.
Very, very early days, in the late 70s, when Persia were having a go and wanting to win this thing, they'd send the cars out for navigation, and they'd send an aeroplane, or the cars going racing, they'd send an aeroplane up high as a spotter plane to help them through. Then they decided that planes were not that good, so they banned them and then banned the helicopters. But they still ended up with, in general, the road books are given out at the 8 o'clock briefing. So it's 8 o'clock their time, which is 7 o'clock our time, which is in about, 43 minutes time. They'll go to in the normal course of events. You go to a briefing, and the road books are given, and the code to unlock all the computers the navigation is given. And that gives in theory, what the organizers want to happen. It gives the navigators a chance to go through the road book. And tomorrow, we're going to have a really close look at the road book and how complex it is, and the language that you need to speak in order to follow the road book. We're going to bring in a specialist, because I can't do this. I can't get my head around it. And I'll tell you what, with some of the matric results, some of those matrics, they would get lost forever in the sand. So the idea was, you get your road book and you've got a chance to go through it and have a look. It is alleged that some teams would send those road books to road book specialists, who would then plot the course, the ideal course, onto a big electronic map,
okay,
and then overlay that course onto a topographical map, and then find other ways around it, and then send these maps back to the crews to have maps in the cars. And it is alleged, some say, that some drivers have used smartphones even. It is alleged. I know nothing. Nothing has been proven. So now you have to lock your smartphone in a little black box, and it gets sealed at the beginning of the stage, and the seal's checked at the end of the stage. So what they did, in order to make the navigation easier for the smaller teams and for the privateers, was to give them the navigation books half an hour before the race, half an hour, 15 minutes, I forget exactly what it is.
Before it starts?
Before the start this morning.
Oh, okay.
So nobody had a chance to go through all the things and check who's doing what to whom. It was basically get in and go. So they're sitting with an unprepared map book, and that might account for some of the getting losses and that sort of thing.
Just a question. When they get in this map book, now I'm talking about the bikes, because they've got the scroll thing
Yeah.
that works. Is it given to them as it highlighted? Do they get a chance
No,
to make their own highlights?
No. When in the morning,
Yeah.
they give them a book. It's, I mean, in the cars, it's a book. It's an A5-ish book,
Yeah.
and for the bikes, and the
It's
quads,
like on a scroll.
it's like a piece of toilet roll.
Yeah.
So you feed it into the rolly thingy, and the rolly thingy moves as the distance goes.
Okay.
It's synced to the front wheel, and then you've also got little buttons on the handlebar that you can catch up and get to the right
Okay.
position. So if you get it in 15 minutes, you don't really have a chance to go through and mark it up,
So
and
you
that's
just-
what
you
they're
just-
trying
you
to
just-
do.
You're just trusting that navigation system.
Well,
Without preparing.
You've got to look at it a lot more and understand the language. The hazards are marked. So, but we'll have a good look at that tomorrow.
Well, that
we're going to bring in
yeah.
bring in a specialist, and we'll have a good look.
But
at
that
that tomorrow.
also explains, and in Kirsty's interview, saying how difficult it was with that dust, not being able to see things properly, and obviously not, losing way and losing the waypoint like Tay Perry did. She had to drive around for a while looking for the waypoint so she could carry on. Kirsty had the same problem.
I think she was doing really well at that time. And,
Yeah.
And the one thing that you really need to do is there are hidden waypoints. But let's talk about this tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Because I don't know enough about it. I just know that you've got to go from here to there to there to there to there as fast as possible, and without mudding rocks and stuff.
Yeah.
And to get to the end, we really need to talk to the
Production.
No, I
Technical.
mean, no. Well, some arsehole who put this microphone. When I put the microphone in here, it didn't work, and I mean the ear thingy. The microphone works perfectly.
Okay,
on
while
that.
you got-
But enough of that.
While you got on with that, just before you carry on.
Tomorrow.
Yes, no, just
Sorry,
before
you got
no,
questions?
No, I just want to let you. Stewie White's joined us. Now, Stewie White is one of the fastest race drivers in South Africa.
The fastest ginger
Yeah.
in the world.
World.
Hello, Stu.
And who knows? Maybe one day he gets into the Dakar. We never know that.
He
All right.
did say to me
Yeah.
at some point that it is one of the dreams that he has is to go and race Dakar, race Le Mans, and there are many other dreams. But for now, Stewie is, I think he's committed to the South African Endurance Series
Yeah.
of racing, which is absolutely magnificent. He has tested a red-line vehicle and came back with a smile from here to here.
And then Rob PC's online. Thanks, Rob, for joining us. Also, Sparky White down there in PE. Nice having you online.
I believe Rob he's a major rally driver.
Yeah, we heard that. I mean, and Rob says that
Robert
he's-
Presh,
Yeah.
he's one of the fastest rally
Rally
drivers
drivers in the world,
ever in South Africa. Go Rob, love you, my boy.
He's got all the titles.
Anybody else? Thank you very much for joining us with the comments, and please feel free you can ask us anything, and we'll challenge you. From tomorrow, we've got a competition starting. We're just waiting from global headquarters of Raceday.tv as to the prize that will be there. It might be, first prize might be 1 Raceday cap, second prize might be 2 Raceday caps, and third prize might be a Raceday t-shirt. We don't know.
Third prize, maybe
Yeah.
an etching from our famous etcher.
No. We don't know. I don't know if you've spoken to him,
I
but we
have.
can't put things out
I have.
out there like that. Okay, so we definitely will have a competition tomorrow. What I'd like you to do, if you can do us all a favor, is what kind of questions should we ask?
Yeah.
Like, who's leading? Which Russian is leading in the trucks? Because there's always a Russian leading in the trucks. What color is the Red Bull Sun on Janelle de Villiers' racing car?
Racing car or helmet?
Gary? There's a good question.
Okay.
Are the colors different
Yes.
on
That I
Janelle de
think-
Villiers' helmet and his car for the Red Bull Sun? Gary?
Yeah.
And nobody's going to come in with an M, because this is the battle of the energy drinks. You've got Red Bull playing Monster, playing Red Dragon, playing playing Castle.
Yeah, just for that, guys, don't be shy. You can put the questions in the chat box we have on YouTube. You could also put them into the Facebook posts as the day goes through. Put the questions in there. We will collate them together. And
No, what Gary's saying is that Gary will collate them.
Okay. We'll collate them together and we will get the answers and we'll put it together. So you can send them to us any way you want to. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. It doesn't matter. Put your questions in there. And like you were saying, the guy with the greatest question could end up winning something.
Yeah, dead right. So my mind has just gone completely 100%
dead on you.
Blank. So I have to go back to my notes.
These things.
Tomorrow.
Now you know sometimes how some of these competitors feel when you're going around looking for that waypoint, suddenly it goes blank on you.
Tomorrow. I was about to say it's Tuesday, and I was thinking of a word that rhymes with Tuesday, and I came up with Tremendous Tuesday. So tomorrow's Tremendous Tuesday. It's a 427 kilometer, and if Henk can stick the map on the screen, we can show you. They're going from Nome to Nome. Nome nowhere. There's a total of 77 kilometers of liaison, and then it's about desert. But there's also rocks, and I think there's lots of sand and there's lots of rocks. So that's the story of tomorrow.
And lots of camels. I saw some videos of some of the Honda boys. Unfortunately, we can't use them because they, what do you want to call it? They authorized to Dakar. But you'll see them going through like this, and you see these camels running down the side of the road next to them and crossing in front and behind them and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be crazy. I hope nobody ever hits one because I think it did a lot of damage to you. But, yeah, the camels apparently are a bit of a hindrance.
So tell us your favorite camel story. All right, join us tomorrow again at 1800 hours, 6 o'clock, Joburg time. We work on Joburg time. For those of you in Cape Town, start preparing at about 2 o'clock. You'll be ready for 6 o'clock in the evening because we know Cape Town's a bit...
Okay, it's just a quick one. We have one here
Yes.
from our mysterious colleague, Keith.
Yeah,
Colin, if you can go race the Dakar,
yeah.
would you drive, and Gary, will you navigate? Keith,
I
are
would
you
drive,
smoking something,
But
Uncle?
I tell you what, Gary and I have an interesting relationship. And you see, the one thing that you need in a co-driver, not a navigator, the co-driver needs to be able to change a wheel. Gary battles to change his mind sometimes. Don't worry, Gary, I do love you.
Thank you, Colin.
No,
I love you. I love you too,
I
my
love you
friend.
too bits.
I love you too bits.
Little tiny bits. Thanks, Keith, for the question. But yes, I would, in my younger self, would have loved to have done Dakar. My current self.
And similarly, in my younger self, I would have been a dream for me. But I think I'll just sit here and enjoy what you and I currently do, and that is just try and tell the world this fantastic story about Dakar.
The one thing we failed to mention was that tonight is the super special, super marathon for bikes and quads. So the leading bikes and quads, they're in park firm. They can only deal with equipment that they've carried, or a friendly competitor might have carried a spare set of brake pads for you, Sam Sunderland, so that you can replace them.
Okay, explain that. So they stay in park for me,
and
they can't touch them till tomorrow.
No. Well, no outside assistance
until
until
they carry on to tomorrow for day 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
You can't just go in there and have your KTM, Husqvarna, Sherco, Hero Honda, and all the rest of them. And Honda. Who's our guy on Honda? Benavides. Yeah. Isn't he riding a Hero? Gary, You're
thinking of the Indian rider. He's riding a Hero.
No, Gary, I promise you, I think there's a proper oak on a Honda. Who's the leading Honda reader? Somebody go and find that out for us. But so you're not allowed to have external assistance. So it's only the dudes in the Kevin Benavides. There we go.
He's
I
from
knew
Argentina.
I'd remember it eventually. That's the cool thing about having a memory thing. So tomorrow it's just a loop. He said 427 and 27 kilometers. 77 kilometers of liaison. It's going to be magnificent. Thank you very much for watching us.
Just a quick one.
Yes.
Menno, thank you very much for those updates you're giving us about the books being marked by the ASO and all that sort of stuff. But I think we're going to leave that tomorrow night when we have an expert that's done a number of Dakars. He'll be sitting in the studio with us, and he'll go into in-depth explaining exactly how that roadmap works. So tomorrow's going to be a very, very important show because it's day 3. It's early days, and he will tell us what it was like when he was having problems.
And it's Tremendous Tuesday. That's how we've decided to name it Tuesday. Right, thank you very much for watching us. This has been Day 2 of Dakar 2020, the 3rd edition on Raceday.tv. Share it with your friends. Click the thing. See you back there tomorrow. Send us your comments. Have a beautiful evening. Be safe. And above all, be nice. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.